Welcome to the webinar. Hey, thanks so much for jumping in today and watching this events project update from Elexio. We are so excited about this project and we just can't wait to show you. So let's jump in. Well, first off, what is the events project? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is a massive update to the AMP suite of software. And by massive, I mean over 41,000 new lines of code went into this project. We've been working on this for more than a year, designing, developing, testing, and putting our support systems in place. And I got to tell you, this is the best update we have ever released to our software. You guys know that we are very aggressive about pushing out new updates, but this one is one of the best we've ever done. This project is the culmination of a dream for us because I believe this is one of the core competencies that all churches need, and this project really addresses that need. And what are we talking about here? Well, we are talking about events. When you think about it, a church is one event after another, all centered around a calendar. So we have now added the calendar into AMP Fusion. And it is all about getting people to come to those events. So we've added a lot more advanced features regarding registration if people actually are supposed to sign up for the event. And you also are painfully aware that recruitment of volunteers is an enormous effort every single week for every single event that you do at church. So we have added the ability to schedule your volunteers, your rooms, and your resources. So it's a very, very exciting update to our software, and we think that this new functionality is going to save you hours and hours and hours of administrative time and really help your people communicate better and just take the church to a whole new level in being able to do your daily activities at the church. Well, you guys know that our system is part of 5 different applications. It's called the AMP Suite. And this particular update really shines in all of our products because they all seamlessly work together to help you pull off an event. For example, you set up an event in Fusion and it automatically appears in our mobile app called AMP Wave so that people can register for an event right from their smartphone. They can log into Pulse, which is our browser app, and people will see a list of all the events that they're eligible to attend or they're invited to, and they can sign up for them and pay for them right from the browser app. You create the event in Fusion and it instantly shows up in AMP Touch. So when people actually come on Sunday morning or to this event, they check in using AMP Touch. And if you are using our AMP Vibe product, which is your website management tool, the event will show up right in the calendar and on your church calendar that you publish publicly. So it's a really, really exciting update. So I'm sure you're all ready to go and you want to see it. So let's jump in and let's see it. We're going to start with AMP Fusion because Fusion is the place where you actually can create your events and manage them. We're at the home page of Fusion, and you'll notice right away that there is a brand new button at the very top of the screen called Events. This is such a major feature of the software that we felt like it deserved its own major button at the top of the screen. So anywhere you are in Fusion, you can always jump to looking at events by clicking this button, which we'll do now. And as soon as you click on that, that's going to show you a calendar of all the events going on at your church. And you can switch between your view, whether you want to look at just one day, or you want to look at a whole week, or you want to look at a whole month. You just select these different buttons at the top. If you'd like to quickly jump to today and look at just today's events, you can click the Go to Today button, and it will show you everything that's going on today at your church. This calendar is extremely powerful, and we have built in lots of tools to help you deal with events, schedule events, look and see who's coming to events right from the screen. You don't necessarily have to run reports or do a lot of shenanigans to try to get the information that you're looking at. It's all on the screen right here. We have built in very powerful features to help you narrow down what you're trying to get to. So, for example, by default, you're going to see all the events that are going on at the church. But let's say that you're really trying to schedule a particular room and you want to see what's going on in that room for the current week. So, what you would do is let's go to a week view, and it's automatically going to show you the current week that you're in. If you want to switch to a different week, like let's say that somebody calls in and they'd really like to reserve a certain room for next week, you simply select any day in that week from the calendar up here, and your view will change to next week in this case. And if you want to see what's going on in just that room, you would use one of the filters over here that says use any of these rooms. So just expand that filter, and if you are a multi-site church, it will break out all your different locations, all your different sites, and you can have a list of rooms at each site. Most churches are probably just going to have one option here that says main campus. So you expand that, and it will show you a list of all of your rooms where anything has been scheduled. So it's not going to show you all of your rooms because you probably have rooms that don't have anything scheduled in them. But let's say that you really want to use room 252 for next week. And as soon as you click that, it's going to limit what's being shown in the calendar to just that room. So you can see that this room is pretty much wide open for the week. It's only got 2 events that are happening on Sunday, and that means that you're free to create a new event on any other day of the week. So that's just one example of how powerful these filters are. Another very common use, and by the way, you need to make sure that you pay attention to what's checked so that you're really looking at what you want to know on the calendar. So if you want to very quickly clear all of the filters, all you have to do is right click up in this area, anywhere up in here, and you'll get a little pop-up menu. And you can expand all of the filter options so you can see what's clicked. Or if you want to show only the selected items, that will instantly show you what's been selected. Or if you want to do a reset, that will select everything for you again, so you'll be looking at all the events that are going on at the church. So these filtering tools over here are very, very important and very helpful for helping you navigate. Now, sometimes you don't know what filters to select. You're just looking for this one event that's on your calendar. Well, that's super simple to do too. You can just start typing the name of the event. So let's say that I know that there's a group called Bringing Up Boys, and it's a weekly group that meets at night. And so I'm just going to type boy, and it instantly filters my calendar and only shows me the items that have the word boy in the description. So I'm going to go to February 13th and just look at the day view, and sure enough, there are 3 different events on that day that have something to do with boy. All right, so there you go. It's very, very easy to find events and get what you're looking for. Now, let me point out too that we really want you to use the information on screen. Try to do most of your thinking and most of your planning without ever having to print something out. But we do fully appreciate that you need to print the calendar sometimes. Like, you may need to print what is going on in a certain room for the day, and you may want to post that on the door of that room so that everybody can quickly see, what's going on in that room for that day. So you can print whatever you're looking at in the calendar. So if you want to print a month view, no problem. Just go to Common Task and click on Print Calendar. And it will prompt you for a title if you want to put a title at the top of your calendar. So let's say that you selected all the small groups that are going on for that month. You could type at the top, small group events. And you would select a printer that you want to send this to, and you can select a paper size, so letter is the default, and an orientation. So I want this to be landscape, so I've got as much room as I can on this sheet of paper. So when you click preview, you're going to get a nice little printed view of that calendar. and it's going to look like this. So here's your printed calendar. Now, obviously, there's only so much space on a piece of paper. It's not going to list every single event. If you select too many events to put on the calendar, it just doesn't work that way. So you may have to limit, put filters on the event so not everything is showing up. But once you have it, once you're previewing it, obviously, then you can print this out, or you can email it to somebody, or handle it however you need to. Now, and that works whatever view you're looking at. So if you want to print out a week calendar, no problem. You just select week, select any filters that you want. So if you only want to look at ministries that are going on, then you would unselect everything else and just select ministries. All right, so we've only got two things going on ministry related wise this week, and then you click on print calendar. And I'm just going to go ahead and preview. I won't select anything. And there you go. There's your week view calendar. Now this one will list a lot of different events on one day. But there you go. Okay. The next thing you need to know is, how do I add an event to the calendar? This is very easy to do. You simply click this button, Add New Event. And it doesn't matter what you're looking at, what day you're on. You can just click Add Event. And it will pop up what we call our event wizard. Now we've designed this in a who, what, when, where style. So you just basically answer all the questions about your event by going through each one of these tabs. So the very first tab is the what tab. What kind of event are you trying to plan? And in this case, you simply enter a name for the event. Now I'm going to do, let's say, a men's retreat. So this will be fairly simple. I'm just going to type men's retreat. And then you put a little description about the event. In this particular case, I might want to type in something like, this is going to be a great retreat this year. We have this guest speaker, and the event's going to be held at a beautiful location, and it costs $100 to come. You could type all of that in this description. This description is important because we use it to help you publicize the event in all the other applications. So it's real important that you do put in a good description of the event. The next question you need to answer about your event is, when does this event occur? And that's on the When tab. So let's click the When tab, and you select what date your event is going to happen. Let's just say that the men's retreat is going to happen on February 22nd, and it's going to go through Saturday. So I'm going to click on the calendar button, and we're going to select the Saturday the 23rd. And it's going to start at, let's say, 4 p.m. on that Friday, and it's going to end at, let's say, 8 o'clock on Saturday night. Now, if this is a recurring event, like it happens every Sunday, you can set the recurrence down here at the bottom. You could just say it's a weekly event every Sunday, and I'm going to show you another example of that in just a minute. But for now, it's really, really simple. All right, the next question you need to answer is, where does this event occur? Right away, when you click the Where tab, it's going to show you a list of all the rooms at your church. So this particular event does not occur at the church. It's actually at an off-site location. So you do have the ability to type in off-site locations, and it will automatically give you a list of all the previous locations that you've ever used. So it'll just save you some typing. And in this particular case, let's say that this event's going to occur at, let's say, Strawberry Hill, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. All right. If you needed to add a new room or a new location, you can do that right from this screen if you have permission to edit those things. By the way, security is another thing we'll talk about, but you can edit these rooms right from this location. In this particular case, if I needed to add a new location, just click on Edit Locations, and you can look at a list of all the ones that you've got already, or you can click New, and it will prompt you for the name of your new location. So let's say, in this case, it could be like a retreat center or whatever. I'm not going to walk through all that, but this is where you edit all of your locations. The room editing screen, very, very similar. It has a few extra options on it, which we can talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so I've selected my location. The next thing is who is going to be attending this event? We give you three different options. This could be an event that's open to everybody, so that's the default selection, or it can be an event that's only for a certain group of people that matches criteria. Like in this case, it's only open to men. And you may even want to limit it to adults. So you could use these filters in the middle to, in this case, limit it to people who are of any of these genders. So in this case, I would do male. And age groups is important here too. So I could drop that down and I could just select the adult age groups if I wanted to. Notice that as you select them, it's going to show you who matches that criteria in this box right here, just to verify that, yeah, that is indeed who I want to invite. You can also do personal invitations. You can handpick a list of people to be invited to the event. And we do offer you the same kind of tools to where you just want to select, men, and you want to select certain age groups to invite. You would do the exact same thing that I just showed you, and it's going to show you a list of all the people that match that criteria. Okay, so here's 576 people that we found. I could do a select all, and just like that, it's going to invite all of those people to come to this particular event. So here's my list of people to be invited. Now, one of the really cool things that our system does is when you finish your event, it will prompt you to send an email to all of these people who have been invited, and it'll ask them to confirm that they're coming or decline, or they can even indicate that they might be interested. They just click maybe. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. But let's move on to the serving tab. This is another great, powerful feature of our system now where you can actually schedule people to volunteer and help out at the event. Let me quickly show you how this works. You have two options here. You can add open positions, or you can add people, or you can do both. But let's say that we have several people that we want to help out. Let's say that Howard is going to be there, and Greg is coming, and let's pick another male person here. Let's say David. All right. You click OK. It will add those three people, and now you can indicate what position they're going to serve in. So let's say that I need some greeters for this event, and Greg, he's going to be playing keyboards for us, or he might be the worship leader, so you could add a new position for that. And let's say we just need a cleanup person. All right. All of these positions can be created. You have control over these. If you'd like to add new positions, you can do that by simply clicking Edit Serving Positions down here at the bottom. And it will show you a list of all of the existing positions. All right. And if you want to change one, you can just click Rename it. Or if you want to add a new one, just click Add New, and it'll prompt you for the name of the new position. So in this case, let's say I need somebody helping out as a cook for this event. I need help in the kitchen. So I'm just going to type cook, click OK, and you can specify what ministry this position applies to. This is important. So this is going to pull a list of your existing ministries. So you might want to have maybe like an events ministry. So like this one right here, where these people just always help out with the big events at your church. So I'm just going to click Save. And we now have a new position that we can reuse anytime. So I'm going to click Done, and there you go. And just to show you that that got added, here's the event ministry with the new position of cook. All right. Now, you'll notice right away that their current status for serving is to be invited. And our system will send out emails to these people asking them if they will agree to serve at this event. They simply click Accept, Decline, or Maybe, I believe. I'll show you a sample of that in just a minute. All right, next option to consider is this event going to require check-in? So I'm going to come back to this in just a minute. I want to show you how to handle your events that got converted from the old system with AMP Touch. So we'll skip that and we'll come back to it. Graphics. you can insert custom graphics if you would like. These are really cool to help you publicize events and make them look very attractive. By default, your graphics are going to look like this when in Pulse, Wave, or Vibe. All right. For touch, there's a lot more screen real estate on touch, and you can have a much bigger image. So there's two different custom images that you can put into the system that will be used. Otherwise, they're going to look like this. All right, when people go to register or check in for this event. The next exciting feature that we have added is you can now charge a registration fee for your events. A lot of events have to collect, money for like a meal, or there's a book to buy, or maybe it's just a good old-fashioned ticket. Maybe you're doing a concert or something like that, and it does cost to help pay the artist that comes in. So if you want to charge admission, you simply select yes, and you type in the amount of the registration fee. So in this case, let's say it costs $100 to come to the retreat. Now, I will alert you, Elexio does charge a processing fee when you do an event that costs something. If the ticket is $90 or less, the fee is $1 per ticket, so per person basically that comes to the event. If the ticket costs more than $90, then the processing fee is $3. This is really a standard thing. Many of you are already using third-party tools to schedule your events online, and I think you'll find that our fees are very, very competitive, a lot cheaper than services like Evite or Eventbrite, those kind of things. Okay, let's go on to resources. We also give you the ability to schedule and reserve resources. And by resources, we mean things like the church van. Let's say that you have a bunch of guys that are going to meet at church, and they're all going to ride in the church van together to the retreat. So obviously, you need to reserve that. So I could type in a 1. Let's say you have multiple church vans. It's gonna indicate how many vans are currently available. So in this case, I need 1. And let's say I need a portable sound system. So I want to reserve 1 of those. So you simply type in the quantity of resources that you need. You'll notice, just like the rooms, you can have an approval process for the use of these resources. So you can specify who it is that reserves these or is responsible for approving these resources. To do that, to set the resources up, you do need to click on Edit Resources. It will show you a list of all of the resources. Here's the list of all the resources by campus. So you can have resources that are available to all campuses or just certain campuses if you're a multi-site church. And then you can specify who's responsible for approving the use of those things. In this particular case, there is one person that grants permission to use the church van. And you can just click Edit List, and you can select for anybody in your database that gets that. And so every time that resource is requested, in this case, Julia will be sent a message that says, this resource has been requested. Do you want to approve or deny that? And again, I'll show you a sample of that in just a second. So very, very powerful time-saving feature in helping you keep track of all of the assets of the church, who's got them, where they're being used, and was it approved or not. So for purposes of this demo, I'm going to take these resources off so that I can show you how this works. Well, actually, I'll leave 1 on. So next thing to consider is publicity. This is a really powerful feature of the Event Wizard because it's not enough to just plan an event and get all your people together, get all your resources together. You have to let people know about it so that they'll come. So we really try to help you to get the word out and invite people to attend this event. So one of the features here is you can have a main contact for the event. This person's name, email address, and phone number will be published in like on the church website or in Pulse or in Wave so that people know who to contact if they have any questions or issues about registering for the event or just how the event works. You can also specify a time period as to when you want to allow people to register for the event. So if you don't want people to start registering until next week, then you just select a later date and time. And if you want to cut off registration for an event earlier than when it ends, then you can specify that, oh, we have to know who's coming to the men's retreat at least 2 days in advance. So you could select, let's say, 2 days before the event starts. And that way, when you do that, the event will not appear in Pulse or Wave or Vibe, and thus it won't allow people to continue registering for it. So here's another important thing. You need to specify which events are allowed to be published online in Pulse, which is your church's online community, or in Wave, which is the mobile app, or in Amp Vibe, which is your church website. If you guys use our Amp Vibe tool, you can publish a calendar and you can list all the events, and then when people see that on the calendar, they can actually click register right from that. I'll show you that in just a bit. But this is very important that you check those boxes to make sure your event shows up in all these other places. We also allow you to publish the event to Facebook. You simply click Facebook and it will use your current login. So if you're logged into Facebook, it's going to publish on your news feed. So if you want it to publish on some other news feed, you need to log out of Facebook and log into the right account that you want to use. Same thing with Twitter. We can publish this to Twitter. We can also allow you to send a mass email to a bunch of people inviting them to the event. But the good news is you don't have to do a manual invite to the event. When you actually save this, so this event is almost finished. When you click finished for an event that's ready to be published, it will automatically send the invitations to these people so that they can accept it or decline it. You'll notice that there is a status box at the top of the event wizard that tells you whether or not the event can be published. And in this particular case, this event cannot be published yet because you have requested resources that require approval. So what you have to do is go back and either get approval for the room or the resources in order to publish this event publicly. Now, this is an important point. You can go ahead and click Finished, which I'll do that right now, and it will send out the invitations for you, but you can't make it appear in Pulse, Wave, or Vibe until you've gotten approval for the requested resources. Now, let me show you what those emails look like. Here is you can preview this just by clicking Preview Email. And here's a sample of what that email is going to look like. So here's somebody that's been invited, and it says, "Hey, Greg, you're invited to attend." It gives them all the details of the event. The location is hyperlinked, so they can see exactly where that is if it's an off-site location. And the contact person is there as well. So if they have any questions about it, they know who to contact to come. And all they have to do is click Yes, and it will record that they are attending the event. Or if they click No, then it records that they've declined the invitation. Or if they click Maybe, then it does record that they are interested in it, but they haven't yet committed to it. There's also a nice little button where they can just click Add to Calendar, and it will add this event to their personal calendar in Outlook or most of the popular calendaring programs that people use. So really, really nice feature to help you invite people to it. Now, if you're not ready to actually send the invitations, that's fine. Just uncheck these boxes. And in this particular case, let's say that I don't want to send these yet. I really need to get approval for the resources. So I do want to go ahead and send those notifications. So I would just click OK. The email gets sent to the person that needs to approve the use of your room. Now, you'll just have to wait patiently until they approve that. They're going to get notified instantly via email, and hopefully they're going to pay attention to that and they're going to click OK. But if they don't, you may have to go after them and say, "Hey, I need you to approve my room." So what they need to do is when they log into Fusion, they need to open up the calendar, and very simply, they could go to the bottom of the screen, and they could check the box. I want to see any of the events that are awaiting my approval. Now, depending on what view you're looking at, you may have to click around and go to like the month view. So go to the month view. You may have to tell them when the event is if it's not in the current month. And here's a list of all of the events that are awaiting my approval. Now, in this particular case, we were working on the men's retreat, which happened on the 22nd. So I'm going to select the 22nd. I'm going to look at the day view. And there you go. There's the men's retreat. So if I was authorized to approve the use of the church van, I would have to go to the Resources tab, and I would select the church van, click on To Be Requested, and it will allow me to select Approved. But in this case, I'm not authorized to approve the church van. So if you really want your event to be published, you may have to hold off on requesting something and make that say 0 and come back and do it later if you want to. You're perfectly allowed to edit these events later on and request additional resources or request a different room or whatever. All right? So I'm going to change that to 0, and guess what happens? Now this room is ready to be published. So I can go back to the publicity screen, and these boxes are already checked for me, so that's good. So now I can click Finished, and now I'm ready to actually invite people to come. And when you click OK, it's going to fire out 31 emails inviting people to attend, and there's 2 people that have email addresses that I've invited to serve. So I can click OK, and it'll fire out those emails. And it may take just a second, but it is actually doing it in the background for you. Okay, let's talk about how to manage existing events. And we're going to keep rolling with this example I gave you with the men's retreat. You're going to be very interested to know how many people have actually registered for the retreat. So the way to do that is you can certainly run a report, but again, I would encourage you to do it on screen. And if you want to see a real-time report of how many people are coming to the men's retreat, you simply double-click the men's retreat, and it will open the event wizard. Same thing that we've been looking at. You go to the attending tab, and it will show you in real time who is registered for the retreat. You'll notice, let's look at several examples here. Greg Abraham, he's actually been invited. So the email was sent out, he's been invited, but he hasn't replied yet. So we don't know if he's actually coming or not. These other people, like Russ Adam Beck, he does not have an email address. This little black envelope with a red cross through it, that means they don't have email, which means they have not been invited to the retreat yet. They can't respond electronically unless they go log in to Pulse or Wave and actually sign up in that way. But the only way they can do that is if they have an email address. So here's a scenario that you're going to face frequently. People are going to call into the office and they're going to say, hey, can you register me for the men's retreat? I would counsel you to gently push back and say, hey, it would actually be faster and more efficient if you would register online yourself, and push them to go to Pulse or to use their smartphone in order to do this. In other words, try to get out of work. It truly is faster, it's more secure if they go in, and especially if there's money involved, they go in, put their credit card number in, and pay for the event themselves through Pulse. If you have to do it manually, here's the deal. You can do it, but there's a lot of steps involved. First off, to actually register Greg, you would change his response to confirmed. So you simply do that right here on screen. He might say to you, hey, I'm just going to pay cash next Sunday, or I'll bring you a check when I show up at the event. And that's fine. You can leave his amount paid at 0, but you'll have to make sure that you come back in and record that he actually did pay for the event. If he wants to use a credit card, we do not offer any interface to you right now where you can actually enter the credit card in our software and process the payment. You will have to use your merchant accounts interface to do that. So for example, if you're using Vanco, you'll need to log into the Vanco site and use their interface for manually processing a credit card transaction. See, it's a big pain for the church to have to do this, so that's why we really encourage people to self-serve. They can do it themselves. Now, I could talk about how to handle all these different exceptions and what you're going to have to do, but I'm going to not do that right now. If you have questions at the end of this webinar, you can certainly email us or let us know. But watch the training videos. We're going to go into a lot more detail in the normal training videos that are going to be available to you. For this webinar, I'm just trying to give you some quick highlights so that you can feel comfortable jumping into it and at least getting started with it. Okay, for serving, you're going to see the same kind of thing, very similar. In this case, Howard and Greg have both been invited to serve, but we're still waiting on them to let us know if they're going to or not. Let's say that Howard called you up on the phone and said, "Hey, I'm in. Count on me to be there to serve as a front door greeter for this event." So you could go in and actually change his status to confirmed. Greg, however, he might call up and say, "Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm out of town that week. I can't do it." So you could change his status to declined. And that means you need to go invite another person to play keyboards or be the worship leader or whatever position you need to fill. And you can certainly add new people right from this screen to serve in other roles. Let me point out one other quick little tip. If you would like to print out a list of all the people that are serving or all the people that are attending, you can do that right from this screen. Just click Preview Report. This is showing you that you've got 3 people that are coming to the event. 2 of those people have actually paid, so it totals up how much has been collected. You still got 1 person that's coming, but he hasn't paid yet. And then you've got a whole list of people that have been invited, but we haven't heard from them yet. We don't know if they're coming or not. So it shows all the people that are invited by their current status. And one of those status you'll notice is these are a list of people that don't have email. So as far as you know, they have not officially been invited yet. The only way they're going to know about the retreat is through, any announcements that you make via the bulletin, or if you send out a generic email during the week telling those people about the event. But they have not officially registered for it. So these reports, my only point is these reports are real helpful to you and can help you manage the event very easily. All right, there's just a couple of other things that I want to show you that have changed in Fusion regarding attendance and as they relate to events. You know that you can record attendance either at a macro level or a micro level. Micro level meaning a list of each person who attended an event. Macro level meaning you had 50 people that showed up for an event, but you don't know who it was. You just know that you had a total of 50 people. We'll start with the macro attendance first. If you go to the administration screen and you look at the weekly stats screen, which is the first one that pops up, you guys know that you can insert your total number of people that attended last week. So let's select, let's say February 10th, and you know that you can type in, oh, we had 1,000 people at church last week, and our total offering was $45,000, all right? Or, hey, $450,000, whatever. And then down at the bottom, you could just click on a line and start adding the details of this total number up at the top. Well, it's slightly changed now. You have to click Add New, and it will show you a list of events that have occurred during this week. So from Monday, February 4th through Sunday, February 10th. If you don't see the event on this list, then you need to add it first to the calendar on the Events tab. I hope that makes sense. In the old system, we just allowed you to willy-nilly add, any kind of event, and it really wasn't tied to a calendar or anything. Well, we've had to tighten that up. So, like, let's say that you wanted to record how many kids you had in the nursery last Sunday. Well, you have to have that nursery event already set up on your calendar before you can add a total number for it on this screen. That's a logical thing when you really think about it. And if you used AMP Touch prior to this release, all of those events are going to show up for you because you probably had them on your calendar. So you don't have to worry about anything here, but it's just a technical detail. So let's say if you want to record how many kids were in the nursery last Sunday, you just select nursery and you can type a number. All right, let's say you had 40 kids in the nursery last week. Wow, what a day. Anyway, that's how you do that. It's very similar on the people screen. And this is the micro attendance that I'm talking about. If you want to manage individual attendance records, and I'm just going to select anybody in my sample database here, you go to the attendance and events section on the people screen, and you'll notice that it is slightly different. You have to click, you can't just click, add new row down here at the bottom. You have to click add new at the top now. You select what day you're entering attendance for. So let's say in this case it's for Sunday, February 10th. And then when you select the event, it's only going to show you the events that occurred on February 10th. So your event has to exist on the calendar first before you can enter attendance for it. Again, it's a logical thing, should make sense to you once you get the hang of it, but it's a small little technical detail that is different now in Fusion. Now, we would encourage you not to enter attendance from this screen. It's kind of slow to do it, one at a time. You can do it, which is fine, but you may just want to go back to the calendar, open the event, and then on the attending tab, you would just add people from there. Very easy to do it from there. Okay, the only other thing I want to point out is with reporting. Any report that has anything to do with attendance or events, they are enhanced, and they make you pick what event you're dealing with prior to you being able to run the report. So in this particular case, let me give you an example. Let's say you're going to work with the attendance details report. This is FCR 3212. And you'll notice that it's going to prompt you for the date range of the events that you want to print up at the top. So this report defaults to just today. Well, let's say that you're trying to get a report of all the people that attended last Sunday. So when you select last Sunday, it's going to show you all of the events that occurred last Sunday. And it's going to force you to pick a very specific event that you want to report attendance on. Okay, again, this should make perfect sense to you. It's logical, and hopefully it's a lot better than what you're used to with the previous way of doing it. So you just select the event you want, click Run Report, and it's going to show you that report with the people who attended that particular event. Okay, let's move on to Pulse. I want to show you some of the new things in there. Number one, we have now added a yes, no, or maybe response option when people register for an event. And the big feature is that you can now collect payment for a registration, or if you're selling a ticket, you can have people pay for those right within Pulse. We also have added better support for recurring events. So let me hop over to Pulse and we'll show you what that looks like. Here is Pulse. Whether it's inside your church website or you're using the standalone site that we offer you, you're going to see the new Events tab, and it's going to list all of the events that you have published to Pulse. So there could be quite a number of events, but it should only show the events that you are eligible to attend. So it's smart that way. If you want to look at events for other family members, you can. By default, you're looking at your own events, but you can go look at events for your children or your spouse or whatever. Now, we've been using this men's retreat event, and there it is. You'll see it here down at the bottom because it's a future event for me from today. So if I want to register for this event, obviously you just click the register button. And since this event cost $100, you'll see the price out to the side. You simply click OK, and it's going to prompt you for what credit card to use. If you've ever given online, then it saves those payment methods, and you can simply select them, or you can add a new credit card or a new bank statement. If you're using Vanco, which is our preferred merchant account provider, it does support e-checking, or actually even withdrawing from a savings account too. So you just select your method of payment, click next, and it will then register the person for the event. Now, let me show you while I'm here a couple of other events that are like recurring events. If it is a recurring event like this one, this bringing up boys example, you can click the register maybe or decline button. I've already answered this, so it's showing me that all I can do is click change my registration status. But you'll notice that it lists every occurrence of the event with each family member. So if you wanted to, if let's say that you're going to go on vacation in a few weeks, you could go down here to, let's say it's going to be the March 13th day, and you could select no, that you're not coming. None of your family members are coming to that whole occurrence of this event. So it's a really powerful, nice way to get very specific registration data from the people in your church, people who have been invited to these events. One other thing that you might notice is this one event here has a custom graphic. So this is an example of how you can really take advantage of that custom graphic feature and make your events look really nice. Otherwise, it's just going to show this default little calendar icon with the actual day that the event occurs. So this particular Pizza with the Pastors occurs on February 15th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. All right, well, that is Pulse. Let's move on to AMP Touch. AMP Touch has seen significant changes. However, there is no change to kiosk mode. In other words, when your parents walk up to check in their kids on Sunday morning, they will not notice anything different. It looks exactly the same. However, the admin mode, the back-end part that's protected with a master PIN, that has changed a lot, and we've simply made it easier to use. We removed the calendar, we removed reporting, and all that's left in admin mode is the system options. So let me show you what that looks like real quick. So if you're running in kiosk mode, you simply get out of kiosk mode by clicking in the lower left-hand corner. You enter the master PIN code, click OK, and it takes you to the control panel. Now, you'll notice that the only thing different on this screen is that it says System Options instead of Administrative Control Panel. When you click that, it just gives you the system options. So that's it. You don't have to log in or anything. All the same system options are there for you. When you upgrade it, it saves all of your system options. You don't have to redo any of that, but everything is there just like it was in the previous version. So, but it's just a lot simpler, a lot nicer. Okay. Reporting, you can still get access to all those reports. You simply have to go to Fusion to get them. There's only one place now to do reporting. The only report that we've left is the room report. So you can still click room report, but if you want to make any changes to it, you have to go to Fusion to do it. That room report is now an FCR, and you can go to Fusion, make changes to it there, but print it from the kiosk. Another change in AMP Touch is that we have now built in recurrence to the events. Remember, in the old version of AMP Touch, you had to create an event and then you had to go out to the calendar and then copy it. And you had to make it recur for, you know, as long as you wanted it to recur, maybe a year at a time or whatever. Well, if you will remember, when you set up your events in AMP Fusion, you can make them recur in the event setup wizard. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that in AMP Touch anymore. And then lastly, you don't need to create duplicate events for volunteer check-in. Remember, if you wanted to allow your volunteers to check in to an event, you had to create a duplicate matching event that was based on a ministry in order for your volunteers to check in. Well, if you remember from the event setup wizard, volunteer scheduling is all now built in to an event. So what you want to do is go through all your events that are duplicates for volunteer scheduling, and you want to delete all the future events. You don't have to worry about the past events, but you may want to delete all the future ones just to make your calendar look nicer and cleaner and not as cluttered. And then you can go back and schedule those people in the other events. All right, let's go on to AMP Vibe. We have now fully integrated Fusion calendaring events into the calendar in Vibe. So when you drop a calendar onto your church website, and you know how you can specify where you want the events to come from, like you can use Google Calendar, or you can just create your own events, or now you can say I want to grab events from Fusion, and you can even specify what kind of events you want. They can be small group events, or just special events, or classes, or ministries. Or you can tag events, like you can pull events that just have a certain tag. Now remember, in Fusion there's a checkbox that says publish this to Vibe. It's only going to grab the events that you've given permission to publish to Vibe. So let me show you what that looks like. We're going to flip over here to a generic church website. Let's pretend that this is your church website. And let's say that you've added a page on your website for your church calendar. So if you go to that page, here's the church calendar, and it's a really nice, clean looking calendar. But you'll notice that all the events that are showing up on here are events that I have given permission to publish to the calendar. So when you put your mouse over one, you can just double click it and you'll get a nice little quick description of what that event is about. You can see now why this description is so important, that you set that up in Fusion when you set up your event. But here's another cool feature. You can actually register for events within AMP Vibe. You simply click the register button, and it will immediately do a check to see if you are logged into Pulse, and if you are, it'll bring up that event and let you indicate whether or not you are coming. And if it's a recurring event, you're going to see all the different occurrences, so you can make choices over individual weeks. If you are not currently logged into Pulse, it will bring up the login screen, and you will have to log in prior to registration. This is just logical. In order to register for an event, we need to know who you are. So the best way to do that is you have to be in the database before you can actually register for an event. Okay, let's talk about AMP Wave. The huge new feature in AMP Wave is that, one, we are adding events to the mobile app, and that you can register for them from your smartphone. It's a really revolutionary feature that I think you guys are absolutely going to love. Think about this. You can stand up on Sunday morning and say, hey everybody, whip out your smartphone. We're having this great event in a couple of weeks. You can register for it right now from your seat. And the great thing is too, if there's a cost associated with the event, they can pay for it on their smartphone as well. Let me show you what this is going to look at. I can only show you screenshots right now, but here's what it looks like. You'll select events from the list of options, and when you do that, you will see a calendar. You'll see all the events that you have given permission to publish in AMP Wave when you set up the event in Fusion. And any day that has an event, you'll see a little dot next to it. You'll see a list of the events if you select a particular day. And this is the calendar view. You can look at a list view. So if you click list, it's going to show the events that are soon upcoming. And then when you actually click on one to register for it, it will prompt you to register your whole family at once, assuming they're all eligible to attend. And if there's a cost associated with it, you'll see the cost, and then all you do is click next, select your credit card. If you've already got one saved, maybe you've done online giving before, it'll let you pick from one of your saved payment methods, whether that's a credit card or an e-check. So it's really, really exciting. I think you're really going to like this feature, and we're really excited to have added that into the mobile app. So now you're probably wondering, when can I get all this awesome goodness? Well, we do have a select number of churches that are beta testing the whole system for us, and they'll get it first. But we are planning general availability to all clients who are using Fusion on March 12th. Any client that has Fusion and Touch can get it April 9th. It's and we wrote beginning March 12th and beginning April 9th because we do need to perform a data conversion, and that needs to be timed carefully. So we will be rolling it out in phases, but it shouldn't take very long, just a couple of days maybe to get it completely rolled out. We are offering the option for the churches that are using Amp Touch to upgrade sooner than April 9th. You simply need to request to be included in the list to upgrade sooner. Just keep in mind that Easter is on March 31st this year. It's earlier than normal, which falls right between these two dates. So you need to think long and hard about whether or not you want to roll out a huge new upgrade to the software 2 weeks before Easter. We recommend that you only do it if you have really good local tech support. You can run around all your machines, get them upgraded. You've got time to test it thoroughly to make sure that your Sunday morning experience goes very smoothly, especially on Easter Sunday. So, but don't worry, you will get it maybe right after Easter. April 2nd might be a good day to go ahead with the upgrade if you want to get it sooner than April 9th. Okay, so your next question, I'm sure, is what do I do? Once I get this new version of the software, what kinds of things do I immediately need to do with it? Well, the first priority is to have your administrator set security permissions. They need to identify who's responsible for approving the use of rooms and resources. So you do that like you do for any security setting in Amp Fusion. From the home page of Fusion, you click on Common Task, Manage Security Role Details, and you will see a new section for events right here. And you can adjust who has permission to manage rooms, resources, add new serving positions, even add new events to the calendar, and manage other people's events. So we've tried to add quite a bit of protection for you that you can set. Now, obviously, you need to do that for each one of your roles. So pick a role that you want to work with and then change the permissions for it. Once you've set up security, then you need to go in and input your rooms, locations, and resources. This really only needs to be done one time, but you remember from the event wizard when I was showing you how to set up an event, when you click on the Where tab at the bottom of that screen, it says Edit Rooms. You click on the Edit Rooms button, and you need to add all the rooms at your church, and you need to indicate who is authorized to approve the use of those rooms if you want the room to have some kind of approval structure. Do the same thing with resources, and locations don't matter. By locations we mean offsite locations, and those are extremely easy. If you use a bunch of offsite locations on a regular basis, you may or may not want to add those ahead of time. It's up to you. Alright, for Amp Touch, if you are using Amp Touch, then you need to extend the recurrence correctly. So you need to open up, let's say you go to next Sunday, open up that event and make it recur for, say, the next year. That's, again, recurrence is built into the event wizard. It was not part of the old system. If you have events that are set up for the next year, you need to delete those. All right, we have automatically set it up so that it will work for the next 8 weeks. After those 8 weeks, if you don't touch it, your kiosk will suddenly stop working on Sunday morning because there's no events going on. They ended. All right, you don't want that to happen to you. So please go in and go through every one of your events and make sure that recurrence is set correctly for all those things, and that you delete all the duplicate events, like all these events that are set up for the future. Those need to be deleted. All right. You need to delete duplicate ministry events. This isn't really a requirement, but it's something we recommend just to clean up the calendar. Now that volunteer scheduling is built into every event, you don't have to create a separate ministry-based event to do scheduling. So your choice, you can do it if you want to. And then once that's done, you should run around to all of your kiosks and install it on all the kiosks. And by install it, I mean turn the kiosk on and start up Amp Touch. and right away it's going to say, hey, there's a new update, and it'll just install it automatically for you. So that's it. Just turn your kiosk on. Do it before Sunday. Don't wait until Sunday morning, just so that you're not if you have any trouble whatsoever with the update, we've got time to help you with it and resolve any issues. So do it as soon as you can, and actually run some tests on it. With the events that you set up, maybe set one up for the middle of the week. Right whenever you get around to testing it, make the event occur right then, and then try to check into it. And if everything goes smoothly, then you should be good to go for Sunday. All right, next, you're probably thinking, wow, this is a beta version. Or those of you who have got in with our beta version, should you be worried? Well, yes and no. My first answer is no. We've put this through extensive testing internally. We've been, again, working on this for over a year. We feel extremely confident about this release, even the beta version. If you find issues, and you probably will, because this is such a huge update to our software, don't panic. Tell us about it. We want to know. It is our top priority right now for our company. Our entire company is focused on making this an awesome release for you. So if you have any trouble whatsoever, please report it to us right away, and we will try to fix those issues as soon as we possibly can. We want feedback. So if things are not going well, or if you're tripping over some task and you're not sure how to do it, please ask. Please let us know. The fastest way to get support is to send an email to support@elexio.com. We have people that monitor that all day long, and we try to respond to you as soon as we possibly can. It's usually within minutes, but we promise up to a 24-hour response. So it could take up to 24 hours on during business days. Usually it's never that long. It's usually within minutes. But send us feedback. Tell us if everything's going swimmingly. We would love to know it. We want to know that you're using it and that things are going really well. All right. You should be aware that we offer weekly Q&A sessions online. We do this as a regular routine course of business, and what these are it's kind of like support by appointment. Anybody can join these things. We usually have about a dozen people that will get online, and they can ask anything they want. Ask any question you want, and we will give you an answer. We'll show you how it works in our software. We'll walk through a little demo with you right online. But anything is fair game. You can ask anything about our software, and we will try to provide you instant support right in those weekly Q&As. We are doing some special ones just for the event project, so look for more information about those special Q&A sessions and how to get into them in an email, or you can call us and ask us about it too. All right, one more thing. This is just phase one of our events project. We actually have designed a 3-phase rollout of the entire events project. This is just phase one. We've already started working on phase 2, and that will be released this year. But it is we are adding much more advanced ticketing options to events. So our goal is to provide you with the ability to ask questions, basically, let users fill out a form to register for something. So if you need to ask people what their favorite color is, or if you're having a pitch-in dinner and you want to ask people what they plan to bring, you'll be able to ask custom questions like that. We're also working on the ability to let you sell product with an event. For example, if you want to sell t-shirts and ask people what size t-shirt they want, or if you need to sell a book because it's part of the curriculum that goes along with a class or a small group, that's going to be part of these advanced features that we're offering. Another huge feature in phase 2 that we're working on is mass texting. We are going to our first priority is to build it into the event wizard so that you can instantly notify people via text that they are invited to an event or they've been requested to serve at an event. But we're gonna roll it out across all of our applications where it makes sense. So you'll be able to just send mass text to a list of people within the software. Really, really exciting feature that we have already started working on. Phase 3 will roll out later this year, and it's involving advanced scheduling options. And some of the details here are we want to provide you with more information about when the last time somebody served right in the event wizard, so that when you schedule somebody to serve, you're not intentionally overusing them. You'll be able to see how frequently they serve. We're also going to try to put a calendar inside of Pulse so that your ministry teams, people can go log into their ministry team and they can see when they're scheduled to serve from Pulse. All right. Right now, they're only going to know when they're scheduled by an email that they receive. So we really want to do a lot more with calendaring and showing people when they're scheduled, and even offering them the ability to block out certain dates so that you don't waste time by inviting them to serve when they're going to be out of town. So they'll be able to add their own blockout dates, that kind of thing. And you're going to want to know, oh yeah, when is all this greatness coming out? Well, sorry, we can't tell you. It's not finished yet. So you can ask away, but we literally cannot tell you. But I'm telling you this because, believe me, there is a tremendous number of features that we want to include in this whole project, but we had to break it up. We had to build foundational things for phase 1 first, and before we could build all this extra advanced stuff. So I hope you understand about that and give us some patience. But we will definitely keep you informed when the time comes to release those features. All right. Well, if you have additional questions, I would highly encourage you to do 2 things. One, look at our help materials. Go to help.elexio.com and you can read all about our events project. You can look for help in certain applications or certain features that you're looking for. We spent a tremendous amount of time documenting how this system works in detail, and we would greatly appreciate it if you would invest just a little bit of time in serving yourself instantly by reading those materials. Watch the videos. We also have spent an enormous amount of time recording videos for your help. This is just a very quick overview. We're going into much more detail in our training videos, and we're breaking them down into smaller chunks so that you can jump to a feature that you're interested in without having to watch a huge long demo. And then the second thing is call us, contact us. If you can't find what you're looking for, we are here for you. We love our jobs. We love to serve. We know what it's like. Many of our support team members, most of them were former staff people, and a lot of them were responsible for pulling off and planning and recruiting major events. And we would absolutely love to share our collective wisdom with you, the things we've learned from other churches. So don't hesitate to contact us. Again, the fastest way to get support is through email. I know that does not sound right, but trust me, that is. We have a very good system for managing all the requests that come at us from a couple thousand churches. You're welcome to call us as well. So the number's on your screen. Don't hesitate to use that as well. We may not be able to provide you instant help. Sometimes the questions are complex and we have to get other people involved to help figure out what's going on. So grant us some patience there, but we would love to help you. Well, hey, thanks for watching this webinar. Really appreciate your time, and I hope that these new features really take your church to a new level and provide you guys some awesome capabilities to expand the kingdom of God. So thanks again for watching.